What is up, ladies and gents? It is your friendly neighborhood BJJ podcaster, Raf Esparza, coming to you with another great installment of The Bullpen, a joint venture between Inside BJJ and the Grappling Hour. I hope you're having a great day. Guys, opening day ceremonies are right in front of us. The PGF is set to kick off its amazing 8th season with 20 spectacular athletes, many of whom have been weighed in even this second and are probably starting to eat their weight back on. Not naming names, probably Mike John, super fat now. Nonetheless, somebody who is not fat, my good friend of many years, one Tim Freeman. Tim, how are you doing, sir?
Not fat yet. That's how I classify myself, on my way to being fat. And yes, I like that lower third. I have already been eliminated from the playoffs only because I decided I'm going to sit this one out. For the kids, I'm going to give them a chance. I'm going to hold back. Great to be here, man. Season 8 kicks off. This is what we have been waiting for. We've been talking about it, building up to it, and now it's here. And now we get to put all of my rumors and all of my ideas and my opinions to the test, and we'll see what happens. I can't wait, Raf.
Yeah, now, just to kind of let people know, as soon as we're done here, I am actually taking the trek on over to the Las Vegas. Tim, you will be remote, but you'll be paying attention the entire time. Do you have your viewing schedule set?
Yeah, my viewing schedule is going to take place on my phone and on my laptop, depending on my location. But I should be sitting right here at my desk, watching intently. I'm going to run an AI agent. It's going to consume all of it as it happens, and then I'm going to break it all down and sell the research to the guys for the following week.
Would you sell it to like Egg?
Yeah, but I would sell him like misinformation research. It would be like the Steele dossier, but for PGF season 8. It'd be the McCaffrey files. The rest of the guys would get the real deal.
Well, listen, no time like the present to get started. Right now, everybody is starting to get this last-minute prep, this last-minute help. We thought we could be of service here. So, Tim, what kind of last-minute, last-service help or any kind of associations or thoughts you can give to the friends who are either watching or involved in this season of PGF?
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of things that are going down last minute. There's athletes as individuals who some guys are probably, trying to get settled still, especially the guys that are late for school at the time, right? They might be en route. And then from the coaches' perspectives, they have to get their teams together. If they haven't already, they got to make sure everybody's settled, everybody's in, and everybody's mentally prepared because it's going to start and every point counts. So those guys got to get ready. From the production side, we know it's Scrambles McGee right now. Everything that you didn't think was going to be a big deal turns out to be a big deal. The cord that Isaac was supposed to grab has the wrong end. Egg tripped over this wire, and now it's out. It's a mad dash to get everything ready to get this plane up in the air. I guarantee you the energy is buzzing, and nobody's sitting down right now.
Let's make this more specific because I feel like somebody hearing Isaac doesn't have a wire is probably thinking, I don't know what that means. So let's talk to Middle America here. What should the athletes be doing right now, Tim?
Getting their heads right, getting focused. So what does that mean? It means, tell your girl, look, I got to turn the phone off, baby. I can't text you I love you every 17 minutes. That ain't going to happen right now. They got to get focused. I like what Dean Lister did in season 6. He had all the guys write their problems down on an envelope, put them in an envelope, and he took them and he said, you can't think about these throughout the duration of the season. You can get them back later. You got to set that aside at least for showtime, at least for the matches. If you want to pick it up on Thursday morning, be my guest, but it's going to be Wednesday before you know it. The athletes need to get their heads right. They need to get focused. get warmed up, get in that kind of state of mind where they're ready, because you need to jump fast in the PGF. You got to get out of the gates fast. You don't have a day to waste. You got to get out there and get busy right out of the gate.
So let's take this one step further. You mentioned last year that was something that Dean Lister did. What should the coaches be doing right at this time?
You know, the coach's main concern is that, one, all their athletes are physically present. And if anybody has some kind of need, something going on personally where they can't like close the door on that personal side of their life, it's the coach's job at this point to help them get those doors closed, remind them to get those doors closed, make sure everybody's ready and settled in. And then they need to start thinking about how they're going to approach the matchups, because they're already set. And if they haven't, honestly, if they haven't thought about it by now, you know, that's not a good sign. But they need to kind of check through those last things, make sure everything's ready. Up to this point, if you're not prepared yet, you're not going to have much time before match one to get prepared. But if you've done your work, now's the time to go in and just make sure like everything's checked off. This is the final table walkthrough before we try to launch the rocket. So the coaches, their primary concern, in my opinion, is the well-being of their athletes at this point.
Now, Tim, here's one that's very interesting that you put on here, which was, what should the PGF be doing? Now, I'm not clear what this is, because are we talking like PGF an entity, PGF in quotation marks, PGF the existential dread? When you put something like that down, I don't necessarily know what it is, because it's not a human being. So we're not quite looking at a human interaction here, but what should the PGF be doing?
Well, one of the things I like to do is give ourselves wiggle room. So if I say the PGF, we could interpret that as a number of things. For me, when I wrote what should the PGF doing, I'm picturing Isaac not having the wire,
okay.
Right?
You know what? I was giving a couple extra seconds here, and I realized it's unnecessary, because you're so hung up on Isaac not having the right wire. But you know the answer is I have it. So between myself and Keelan and Isaac, we can produce this show 9 different ways, but we basically come together like Voltron. We all have our special gifts, and, you know, we loan each other equipment and stuff here. But I am looking at my equipment here, and I realize I need to pack this up as soon as we're done. And yes, Shay Green, thank you so much for joining in. You put Showtime, ladies and gentlemen, Showtime indeed. But more than that, I think it's time we move to our second topic, which is it's time to get down to brass tacks. We need to get into some of the facts that are about this year's PGF. And in order to get you adequately prepared, because right now I'm sure you're ready for this action to happen, and it's coming up. It's very soon. You just need to know, how the hell does this thing all work? So, Tim, remind our friends here, how does the PGF work?
Well, thanks for bringing that up, Raf. I'm glad you mentioned that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to walk through 3 things. I'm going to try to make this clear. There's team play, individual play. Those are the main things that you got to look at. And then there's some important dates. So team play, look, these teams are going to battle each other. Every team is going to fight every team in the league once a week, starting on July 23rd. All right. That's kickoff. Then for the next 5 weeks, this is going to go down, right? So it's through April 20th. Every Wednesday night, all these guys are going to fight each other. Now, each guy is going to have 3 matches a night. So the team is going to earn points. We'll talk about how the points work against the other team. Whoever wins the most points wins that match. Okay, that makes sense. The individual athletes, as they earn those points for their team, they bank those points in their individual account. The 8 highest point scoring athletes at the end go to the playoffs and then have a chance to win the championship. The teams kind of shake out towards the end. Sometimes on the final day, you already know which team is going to run away with it, and sometimes you don't, right? It just depends. Now, a couple bonus things are that teams get an extra point for the team and everyone on the team if they win their match. So that's one way to accumulate points. Kills, any kind of strangles, were 6 points. Any other submission is 3 points. If you get a sub within the first minute, you get an extra point. They call that an elbow genie. That's basically how the individual and team system works. The important dates, look, July 23rd, 7 o'clock Eastern, 4 o'clock Pacific, running every Wednesday night. Go to YouTube youtube.com/@pgfworld, or you can go to pgf.world. You can watch everything there. It's free. No reason to miss it. Set your reminders. It's going to happen like clockwork. What did I miss, Raf?
I mean, I think those are the main points. What I would tell you guys is this: if you want to be smart, and I'm not saying all of you are, it is good to pregame and figure out where the people are going. So why am I telling you to pregame right now? Well, as the pre-show entity, we are used to people asking us to do the work for them like we're AI. So I thought I'd get ahead of that because I would tell you and recommend, hey, maybe it's a good idea to look up when your athlete is going. But I know the reality of that. I know many of you are too lazy because I know our demo very, very well. So what I'm going to do right now is I'm going to pause the board and I'm going to take you to another screen. And on this screen, I'm going to flash by what are going to be the matchups here. So the very first one we're seeing here, Tim, is going to be the one that takes place. So this is what leads off the show when we start the action. And the very first match you're going to see is Landon Elmore versus Jet Thompson. Right after that, you get Armin versus Anthony Molina, which, by the way, has been very volatile in the chat. So you can definitely look more into that. Then you've got Brady Branscombe versus Anthony Gojani, which, I'm sorry, I meant to say Anthony Gojani. I don't know if Anthony Molina Valdez is actually going after anybody. I looked ahead and I saw Anthony Gojani, and I just figured he's beefing with everybody. So he's scheduled to only have that match at that time, but he's definitely been beefing with everybody there. Yeah. Nonetheless, after that, you get Mike John versus Juan Martinez. Now, this is where things get interesting because Juan Martinez was very sought after in a big way on that board when we went for the draft. But Mike John, a vet, can surprise people, has made his way through a qualifier before. That's going to be a fire match. And then, of course, at the end of that one block, you've got Christos versus Dom Lobo. So very, very excited because it says leak more chat details. Like, take your time and go after the Epstein files. The chat details here are only leaked when necessary, and they're not even that exciting sometimes. Like, sometimes the trash talk, if it's good, it'll make the show. But if it's shit, I'm not spending time to waste that here. I see a note here from Shay Green that says, where can the dedicated PGF fans look into getting into this event? Well, you could also get involved with the fantasy. So on the PGF website, you can get involved on the fantasy. That's a good way to get involved on it. We ourselves here have fantasy teams. We'll get to that here in a second, but we got some other matches to preview. So there's 6 different slides we have here. We're going to barrel our way through them. So that was how we started the action. After that, we directly go into John Chandler versus Matt Mash. Another top tier match. John Chandler, a great MMA fighter. Matt Mash, a EBI competitor, a CJI competitor, and a champ. Amazing things happening here. Then you've got Robert Blackledge versus Christian Olivio. And on that one, you have 2 very different styles that people are interested to see how that's going to work. And it's interesting to see how that can play out. CJ Murdoch, Rafael Ferreira. I mean, 2 very, very interesting prospects here. Rafael Ferreira may be the favorite, but we'll see. We'll see. And then Zach Schneider versus Jordan Worth and JJ Bowers, the pronounced Joseph Bowers. I love that. It's like, oh no, here we go. And then, of course, Joseph Bowers, JJ Bowers versus Brady Hilton. So those are the first 10 moments here. So just letting you guys know, we move across. Tim, do you have the ability to see some of these matches, or do you want me to announce them and just get your thoughts here?
Yeah, I can go through 11 through 15. So we're starting out with match 11. This would be the third block. Matt Mash is heading off against Landon Elmore, and not a super easy schedule for Elmore on day one, having to fight Mash and Jet Thompson in the same day. Then we got Christian Olivo going up against Armin Bruni, and that's followed up with Rafael Fajeda. I don't know if it's Hafa. Is it Rafael Fajeda?
Just call him Hoffa.
Or is it Hafa?
We've discussed
Hoffa.
this. He does not get
It's
Raf.
Hoffa.
He gets Hoffa for the season.
Okay, he gets Hoffa. All right, Hoffa is going up against Brady Branscombe, and then we got Jordan Worth and Mike John, which I think that's going to be an interesting match. 2 10P guys, one out of the Vegas area and the other out of the Monster Squad, and then we got Brady Hilton and Christos Papadelos capping off Block 3.
Now,
So
mind you,
some pretty good matchups in there.
Tim, this is only going to be the halfway point of tomorrow's action, because then when we come back here, the next match is up. John Chandler goes right back at it again, this time against Jet Thompson, followed quickly Robert Blackledge, Anthony Molina Valdez, CJ Murdoch versus Anthony Gojani, which I think should be a very fun match. Zach Schneider versus Juan Martinez. Come on, you guys. And JJ Bowers versus Dom Lobo. So that is where we go to next. And yet we're not done. You would think that'd be enough for most places, because 20 matches, that's a good enough super card for most different organizations. For the PGF, we got 10 more after that. Tim, take us through these next 10.
So we got, we're going 21 through 25 here. We got Jet Thompson, Matt Mash. That's going to be a banger. I really want to see that in combat jiu-jitsu, but I'm going to be happy to see this in sub only. And then that's followed up with Anthony Molina Valdez and Christian Olivo, followed by Anthony Gojani and Rafa Fajeda. Juan Martinez, the 5th, is going to take on Jordan Worth for match 24. And then match 25 is Dominic Lobo going up against Brady Hilton.
And again, we've got 5 more to close out that day. Tim, talk us through these last 5.
Okay, so the last 5, we have John Chandler wrapping up the day against Landon Elmore. Robert Blackledge is taking on Armin Bruni. And then we're going to follow up with CJ Murdoch, Brady Branscombe. For me, just on names alone, that's the fight that I want to see. It just sounds like 2 scrappers, man. Zach Snyder, Mike John, and then JJ or Joseph Bowers going up against Christos Papadelos.
We have to figure out a way to change his name to JJ. This Joseph Bowers is not going to cut it for me.
Joseph James Bowers.
Joseph
I wonder what his middle name
is definitely what his mom refers to him as when he's acted up. Yeah. We don't need that here.
Jojo Bowers.
We're going to now move our way on over to the new. So there were some interesting developments that happened in the time that we were gone, Tim. It looked like we had the rumors first that there was a second team in contention. We didn't know who it was. We had some speculations. But now we firmly know that there is a brand new team. Tell us a little bit about the Alabama Twisters.
Yeah, so we did know that there was some rumbling. It wasn't quite confirmed. And then it was shortly after the PGF announced the Alabama Twisters. And they are jumping into season 8. So Team Canuto is now the Alabama Twisters. I think this is owned by like a group of people in Alabama, but I'm not positive exactly who the owners are. But yeah, man, pretty cool setup. And then I've heard, Raf, and you tell me if you've heard this. I hear that there's some rumblings that maybe not this season, because we're right on the cusp of the season, but next season we may see additional teams come into the fold.
Don't know. And sometimes I'm sworn to secrecy, so no, I don't know anything, Tim. What are you talking about?
I don't either. I have no idea.
What I can tell you is this. When you mentioned like a consortium of Alabamans, it made me think that they all like went on top of each other like they were kids trying to sneak into a movie theater. Yeah. And they're like, hello, I am the owner of The Alabama Twisters, and they're all trying to hold their balance together. I mean, congratulations to them. I don't know the consortium yet. We will do some due diligence there, but the man in the AI is 100% Elkins, right?
I think so. I think the real money behind this group is the dude that owned the restaurant in the movie Porky's. Remember Porky's?
Yes.
I think he's the. I always figure that's in Alabama. I have no idea where it's at. It seems like it would be in Alabama. I hear he's back in this.
The human footnote himself makes sure that we get something here. A group of gym owners and black belts in Alabama. See, here's the nice part. That's descriptive. It's still not helpful in terms of trying to describe who it is. Because to me, I'm like, well, it's just a group of black belts. If you said that at an IBJJF competition, you'd be like, who?
Yeah.
Who are we talking about here? And it says, I think Alabama Twister is an AAU girls basketball organization.
Yeah. Huh.
This is very different. It's PGF's Alabama Twisters. So keep that in mind. And
it's Professional Grappling Federation's Alabama Twisters.
Thank you. And I was thinking to myself, I was like, I had a name that I pitched on the document that I don't want to say on air, but like it was an attack you would use in middle school that was, you know what I mean? When you would do this. So I just wonder if that's a name that somebody's going to use. And it made me think, what if you were like Canuto here? Because you thought that this team was going to be named Team Canuto. Not anymore. They picked the most lax guy to go like, hey, this isn't Team Canuto anymore. It's actually Alabama Twisters. Be like, oh, man. Oh, so looking forward to having Team Canuto, but okay. And I've seen AI generate, the Tropic Thunders, and I've seen them generate another thing too. So it's starting to train your mind to get ready for these different names coming up very shortly. But let's keep things rolling, Tim. Let's move on to our next topic, which is predictions. So on this predictions, we're trying to figure out a few key areas. So one of the things I thought we should try to figure out is, yes, point differentiums are going to be very interesting, but this year we're introducing money bags where you'll literally see our owners and founders throwing out money at certain athletes. So we wanted to try and figure out who those people are going to be and make some predictions there. So let's start first, though, with who will have the most individual points, Tim.
Are we talking season or just week one?
Oh, boy. Okay. Well, you wrote this one, Tim, so I'm going to let you define it because I was good either way.
Yeah. Let's go. Let's just make some predictions for tomorrow. Let's talk about who we think is going to come out on top. Now, of course, there could be some ties in there, but let's just give it a shot that way. I am going to put up near the top of the leaderboard. I'm going to step out on a limb and go with Jordan Worth. I think he's going to pull a couple of subs off tomorrow, and he's going to get up at the top of that leaderboard. That's my pick for tomorrow.
It's difficult because I'm looking at now this board, and it's hard because I wasn't necessarily I was more excited and not thinking as an analyst on what was going to get the most points here. But I would say, Brady, being up against CJ Murdoch, that's a tough match for Brady. So that could be a moment for CJ to go. And by the way, I actually picked CJ Murdoch on my team. So we shall see how that plays out. And normally I wanted to see a great first day from Rafael Ferreira, but Hoffa, I don't know. I mean, he starts off with Andy Gojani, who he says he'll be able to submit quickly. And if that is the case, that's a great start to him. But the very next moment, you're going to see Rafa having to go up against Brady. I mean, Rafael Ferreira might actually be somebody who could score very well tomorrow as well. So I would say if you really want to see how that goes, tomorrow is a very, very big day. That first set. And then Rafa versus CJ Murdoch will basically tell both of us, all right, we're off to the races, but who's going to be able to implement their game for the rest of this week? So that's our first thing. Now, Tim, let's go to our second aspect here, which is this. we wanted to try to figure out first money bag of the season. Now, this assumes that money bags are going to be thrown tomorrow, but who do you think is going to be the first?
Well, they got to throw the bag tomorrow. If you don't throw the bag, you better show the bag. You better parade it around and open it up and let people smell that cash. Like, you better figure out how to get that out there, because that's a major cool whistle that they've added to the PGF. I think it's going to be a flashy move, and I think it's going to be the first flashy move that hits. I think B-Mac's going to have an itchy trigger finger, and he's going to throw that bag. Out of everybody to pull that off tomorrow, flashy subs. Okay. No, Mike John. No, I'm just kidding, Mike John. I love you, buddy. I'm going to go with, where's he at? Dominic Lobo. And here's why. And this is why I am hot on Lobo. I think he's got something to prove. And he's already got a pretty big flash highlight viral Instagram clip of the go-go clinch, and he's throwing elbows. And I know we're not throwing elbows, but if anybody can pull it off, he can pull it off. So I'm going Lobo.
Okay. Good note on that. I'll actually do one with you, and I'll go John Chandler on this one. John Chandler is somebody who's recently at Subversive, I want to say back in September. He gave us a flying armbar within just seconds. If he gets off on his game plan, I feel like John Chandler, that could be one of the surprises of the season. Like something super flashy, super athletic, super fun. I think he might be somebody to keep eyes on for something surprising that way. Is he going to rack up the most points? I don't know. Maybe, maybe not. But I feel like that young kid is going to be definitely doing the best that he can to give you some kind of highlight material, something worthy enough to go, here you go. And I see a note here that says, I'll pick the reverse of Tim. Christos gets the first bag against Dom. That's interesting. I don't know. I mean, Christos is a game player. He is also on Team Esparza on our fantasy league. So I believe in him. I think it'll be impressive, but the money bag situation, we're going to have to see how each person defines it, because you have 4 different personalities throwing them. So they're not all going to respond the same way, I don't think, but we'll see. And the next one is, if someone hits anything lockdown, the commish is tossing the bag. I mean, that's a very interesting thing to say here, Shea Green, because I can't even back that up. You might know BMAC a little bit better in that way. But I'll tell you this much. When you only have so many money bags on you, in this economy, y'all better give me something really to throw that money at. That's all I'm saying. And, you know, there was discussion. We were asking if we could get money bags, and they might have given it to us, and we might have lost it. That's what we told our accountant.
Yeah. You know, we misplaced the funds.
It's
a little light this week, boss.
So this is the one that you put up that I'm not sure how to quite quantify, but I like the aspect of it. Prop bet. The point differential between Mr. Number 1, Mr. Big Shot, and Mr. Number Last, which is Mr. Irrelevant, in our fantasy draft using the Price is Right rules. So there's a lot of contingencies here, but essentially what we're trying to say is the person who went first was Rafael Ferreira, and the person who went last was Brady Hilton. So what Brady is the Hilton. Point differentium going to be here, Tim? I ask you first.
Boy, and I think we go season on this. I think it's kind of hard to do a day, but let's just go season. The point differential between Fajeda and Hilton, I'm going to say the differential's probably...
Tim, you thought of this question. You've had time to think of it.
Well, I like to keep it fair, though. I don't want to come in, have my answer all loaded up. You know what I'm saying?
Tim is the person who's basically made the game show scandals happen in the 60s. It's like, what happened? I don't know that answer. Could it be Mrs. Fields cookies? Okay. Let's try this again. You're thinking for full season, which, by the way, the other questions were done for just tomorrow or today, if you would, if you're watching this now, and the competition's about to happen. But now this one's the season-long one. So what are we thinking here? I'll just make a bold prediction here. I think it'll be 16. I think that's the point differential.
Okay.
And
yeah, that's
and Egg is going one larger. And this is where things get interesting because he's saying a 24-point difference. That is pretty big. Like, that's half of Ryan Aiken numbers. It's not out of the woods yet. But don't forget, season 6, the difference between getting into the playoffs and not the playoffs was pretty close. So we've seen some variances here, but I like the attempt. Tim, I'm going to come back to you now. What is your number?
I said 8. I think it'd be around 8.
Oh, okay, great. Okay,
Yeah,
great. Why don't you take care of that, Tim? And then I'm going to go ahead and walk us through just our next action here, which is some social media updates. So we've been seeing some of the guys do their weigh-ins. We've seen some of these guys get prepped for this line of competition. And what I thought we would do here in this moment is give you a short update on what we've been seeing on social media. Now, one thing that I saw and I can report here on is that CJ Murdoch was actually giving props to Mike John. CJ Murdoch says they're not even on the same team. And then he was giving Mike John credit for some extra assistance. It was unclear if he was saying maybe he was giving him rides or some extra help, but he was basically shouting out this dude on another team. And I have to ask you a question, audience. Is that a move that is a power move, or is that of one kindness of the heart? Here's why I ask that. When you go show up in Vegas, everybody should be game faces. They're all training with their teams. They're all getting in the zone. But do you think that Mike John was doing this as a means of getting in CJ Murdoch's head? Yeah, they're two of the OGs on the staff. But it might be one of those moments where when it gets down to it, maybe CJ Murdoch doesn't pull the trigger on Mike John. I'm just saying. I'm not saying he's going to throw anything, but I'm saying maybe he's not going to break that arm. Maybe he's just going to try and hold it so that he doesn't actually get fully injured. I'm not saying anything. I'm just putting it out there. Tim, what are your thoughts on a social media update for one of the athletes in the PGF, sir?
So I was checking out, but first, I used to think Mike John was nice, but you've convinced me that he's diabolical. Yeah. Like, I've started going back and going through all my interactions with him. Mm-hmm. I think he is capable of acting nice to disarm his opponent later. So, I used to not believe that, but now I could see him doing that.
Let me point this out to you. Yesterday, I didn't take a gym selfie of me lifting, and all Mike John ever does is just put the cry laugh emoji. So when I posted the food I was eating, he did the cry laugh emoji at me. And the other day, he put a clown face over his head when he was cutting weight, as if calling himself a clown, which, I mean, it fit. And I did the cry laugh emoji at him, and he's like, hey, man, what? And I was like, I'm doing what you do. What are you talking about? This is like, dude, I've seen people be like, man, I miss my grandma. And you're like, cry laugh emoji. Like, that's just the one emoji he picks. So this dude is all about mental warfare. And he was putting a cry laugh emoji to my green beans, rice, chicken, and broccoli. It doesn't even make logical sense, but that's the only thing he knows how to do. So that's why I'm telling you, CJ Murdoch, it might seem like a nice guy thing, but is it? Anyway, Tim, go for it.
Yeah, so I was checking out a little bit this week, Zack Snyder on Instagram, and I looked a little bit back about, this week and last week, and one that struck out to me was he felt it necessary to take a video of himself doing backflips and expressing how excited he was for getting ready for PGF season 5. So maybe we're going to see some high flying passes. Like maybe he's going to rip one out of Canuto's playbook or Rafael Domingo, right? And hit that backflip pass that never works. It works one time and it's enough to get everybody to do. And then just recently, within the last few hours, he posted a personal video of him, somebody probably in his family taking it while he's getting interviewed by the PGF, probably doing some B-roll stuff, and his kids are just going bonkers in the background, and they're running around, and he's just like, okay, it's family time while I do the interview. So it looks like he brought the whole crew out, and he's not just using athlete strength. He's going to pull some dad strength in there too. And if you get dad strength plus athlete strength, that can be hard to beat. So good on you, Zach.
The interpretation I have of Zack Schneider when he does that stuff is, you know, that character that Molly Shannon played on SNL when she would kick in the air and be like, I'm 50. Like every time he does a flip, he does the old person version of I'm 50. Now he's not 50. He's young and he's in shape. And yes, we get it. You can do a giant flip in the air. But like doing it at this age, when you are in the PGF, makes me worried, young man, because I don't want you to get injured doing that. And then you got to be like, oh man, I didn't get injured in the match. I did a rogue backflip one day and yikes, oh, it hurts now. And that's why I only took second place. Like, take all of the risks, no extreme sports, no anything. You guys are in Vegas for 5+ weeks. Get your shit together. Don't be dumb. That's my advice. So thank you for these social updates. But Tim, I think it's time to do our annual tradition of inspiring our teams. Now, both you and I have fantasy teams that we are excited to be coaches of. And by coaches, I mean metaphorical coaches. We have no real value to these people. But nonetheless, the heartfelt, the strings, the mind, the preparation, the advice we can give right now. I'd like for you to take a moment to inspire your team, sir.
Yes, thank you very much. I do this once a season in the beginning of the season. And here's what I have to tell you. We know that fortune favors the bold. This is a short 5-week season. And I know that sounds crazy. But when the last 2 seasons went down, they were 5 days in a row, and it's a meat grinder. And by day 3, it's the longest 5-day season you've ever done in your life. It feels like it's going to take forever to get it over. A 1-week season feels longer than a 5-week season. But there's a catch with a 5-week season. You get some time to recover. You get some time to rest. You get some time to prepare. So what does that mean? It means you gotta be ready to sprint right out of the gate. You gotta go hard. For 5 weeks, it's strict living, Soldiers for Christ reporting for duty, save your money, live cheap in Vegas. You gotta live by grass, gas, or you know what, right? That's your tap, snap, or nap. Nobody's riding for free. Every day you got to be on top of it, because when Wednesday comes, you better be ready. Don't get lulled into that break. Say your prayers, take your vitamins, Hulk out, ice baths, breathe right strips, Liver King, no booze. You got to drink course cutters for the next 5 weeks. Take what your enemy thinks is your weakness and make it your greatest strength. What am I talking about? I'm talking to the kids and the elderly. Look, basically everyone on my team would have been eligible for a life raft seat on the Titanic. They were like, no, you're a kid, not you're an older, you get out there, that's fine. Embrace those imperfections. As the great Nicolas Cage said in Las Vegas, leaving Las Vegas, and I'm quoting this because it's a great Las Vegas movie. We both know that I'm a drunk, and I know you're a hooker. I hope you understand that I'm a person who is totally at ease with that. Embrace your teammates. Even if you think, man, I'm not this or this guy's not that, listen, the bag and the belt aren't going to the team that did the best yesterday, last month, or last year. The prize is going to the team that can bring itself together, assemble like the Avengers. Maybe you look like a car that's been rolled a few times. There's some scratches. Maybe your car's got a staph infection. Maybe the frame is bent and it doesn't look like it's going to drive straight. That don't matter. pile the homies in. It's PGF season 8. Put the championship in your navigation and put the pedal to the metal. It's go time, boys.
Well, thank you for that, sir.
You're welcome.
There was a moment when you were in the thick of it that it vaguely resembled Lil Wayne lyrics. Because I couldn't quite make it up. It's like, stand up, ice baths, can't get up, go, get out, Vegas, hookers up, hose down. And I go, okay, Tim, I think I have a vague idea of where we're going here. Well, thank you for that. I'd like to talk right now to my team. I'd like to talk to Team Esparza. Listen, you guys, this is big. This is not just your moment. I thought the only way to truly encapsulate our moment as a team is to recite a monologue from the movie Stand and Deliver, starring Edward James Olmos. Some of you are familiar with it. Those of you are brown people. The rest of you, get ready for your first introduction to Jaime Escalante. There'll be no free rides, no excuses. You already have 2 strikes against you. There are some people in this world who assume you know less you do because of your name and your complexion. But math is the great equalizer. When you go for a job, the person giving you that job will not want to hear your problems, and honestly, neither do I. You're going to work harder here than you ever have before, and the only thing I ask for you is ganas, desire, and maybe a haircut. And if you do not have the ganas, I will give it to you, because I am an expert. Scene. You're welcome, team. I want to point out here that in this, it says if that speech didn't get you in the zone, nothing is gonna. Well, science leads us to wonder that on a daily basis. One thing that's interesting here is the attempt by Egghead to inspire his team by just telling him statistically, you will do well. We're going to take it all. And the belt will go to the 20-pound brain. Well, there's been no belt promised. I just have a belt in perpetuity. I don't know about you guys. If the commish is springing for another belt, that sounds great. But my belt going on this wall forever and ever as the two-time champion of this fantasy league who has beaten Egg. Just want to remind you, 20-pound brain couldn't get it together for a 15-pound belt. Oh, it's good. It's good doing this all over. Love it. Thank you, Shay Green. I appreciate you. Why don't we go to our last segment here before we start to turn it on over, and we'll go ahead and get to our fight of the week, this week's low light highlight. Tim, what can you tell us about this week's fight of the week?
So this is a food fight. Not too much food. Lots of fists being thrown, and pay special attention to how it pops off. It just pay attention to how the pop off happens. And I couldn't, it's like, is it a cafeteria? Is it a Chinese food buffet? Is it a juvenile detention center? You can't quite tell exactly where it's at. But when it goes down, and these guys were not there for the orange chicken. I can tell you that.
All right. Well, we're just going to take one shot at this one today, Tim. So you're going to be leading the dance. Tell us what it is we are looking at. If you would be so kind to do the narration for this epic food fight right in front of us. And let's look at it right now.
So here we go. We got homie on the phone. He just got to check Snapchat real quick. He's like, oh, saw what I need to see. Oh, look who walked in the door. Is that my Amazon package? Where's it at? Oh, I got your package from the Oakland Raiders. I got your package. And then Beanie Guy squares up. And I like the tactic how they use the table kind of as their little cat and mouse. And Beanie Guy backs off, and now dudes from the outside come in, and now they're fighting over who's going to get the chow mein. I'm going to get it. You ate it all. Chucked a table. You could see Raider dudes passed out, and he's having trouble getting up. And I like this move. Homie came back for him, and I thought that was a solid. Well, Homie comes back to mess him up, and then his friend comes back to help him. And now the dudes in the back are coming out, and they're like, I don't think we want to get mixed up in this too much. I like how they're just kind of standing around. They're more worried about those chairs. They're like, we can't get those anymore at IKEA, dude. Like, that's going to be $90 to replace.
Listen, let me do my live take here real quick. All right, first, some observations here. I love that this dude, how old is this clip, dude? Because that dude looked like he had a flip phone. So either he has a flip phone or he's got a burner account that he's trying to make sure he's not getting caught with Walter White. Puts it in his pocket, all of a sudden goes to open the door, and oh no, oh yeah. Dude who's basic stand-in for Happy Gilmore comes in very spicy, ready to go. And this dude's homie comes in. This is what I love about this scene, is that they form together like two Power Rangers. They cut off the scene. They make sure to get the angles in here. And that one dude who was just trying to eat gets up in the most pathetic way possible and is like, fuck, man, leave me alone. And with one hitter quitter power, takes it down. And then this dude chimes in. I don't even think this dude is a homie. He is basically the one with the over on that far left. He's the one toppling over that table, which does nothing, by the way. He gets popped for his efforts. But this is the part I want to bring up, is that he gets lifted. Can I just point this out? If you ever get lifted in a fight, go home. There is nothing more for you to do because you are gently placed back down. Look, and here you go, bud. All right, get out of here. Now, as this is all happening, there's a few shots on high, but this one dude who you know is getting paid beyond minimum wage comes in with the cell phone and goes, hey, you guys stop it. I'm calling the police here. Everybody stop it. And why did you dive punch that dude? That's dumb. And this is my favorite part. It's the get up because this dude's thinking like, I'm all right. And then whomp. And that is the end of that fight.
He tried to use the cage to wall walk right there. It didn't work out, though.
Can't do that. Cannot do that. Well, Tim, that was a delightful way to get us over the hump. And, you know, this reminds me right now, guys, if you're watching this, we appreciate you. And I think we're going to hand it over to get some of the day's action going to probably the most credible and handsome reporter that I know. So they're going to take it over from here. We thank you for watching. Don't go anywhere. We have so much more to get to. But for the rest of you guys tuning in right now, we thank you for watching along with us here at the Bullpen for this live experience. We'll be doing our shows on Tuesdays, and we're going to refine that as we figure out exactly how tired we both are. Because once we're done here, I am packing up and going to Vegas, and I will be live in Vegas in front of your eyes very soon, hanging out with our good friends on the production team and getting together. So why don't we, Tim, tell people where they can find us and where they can get to know us a little bit better so they choose to do so.
You could find me at Inside BJJ on all your favorite social media platforms. You can also find me out in Nashville at 10th Planet Nashville. We get lots of visitors. If you're out this way, please come through. If you love the podcast, you love the Bullpen, say what's up. Let me know when you come through. Great to be here, Raf. I am beyond excited for season 8. I think some really cool stuff is going to happen. We get to see so much stuff go down behind the scenes. When it finally comes time to pull back the curtain, it's always a moment that we can all be proud of. So looking forward to it.
Likewise, Tim, I will miss you out there, but I will do us proud. I mean, I'll do efficient work. I think that's a fair assessment. So I'll make sure to hold the banner for the Bullpen while I'm out there. But Tim, I thank you for your time today, and I will go ahead and close this up. Thanks, you guys, so much for coming on out, hanging with us here at the Bullpen tomorrow. Be there. Now, this episode is probably going to re-air live tomorrow. Not live, but again tomorrow before the show happens, and you might see a familiar face. So while you might see yourself and think like, wow, I've already seen this episode, what if I'm there? What if I have more show to do before the show starts? So don't miss that. Be sure when you see my face, like, comment, subscribe, let the people know what you love. And maybe, just maybe, the gallery comments might be yours tomorrow. So hang out with us. You will see more of the bullpen draft pre-show to the main show. That is our little bridge that we're starting to do. We'll do those throws. So thanks you guys for watching. We appreciate you. Catch me at Grappling Hour on all major platforms. And you can also catch me on, we get some interviews coming up this week. That'll be very, very fun. So go to patreon.com/grappling hour for, supporting the show, or go on over to rafesparza.com/merch. Support your boy. All right, ladies and gents, I got to go. I got to get packed. It's been fun. It's been a great day for grappling. We'll see you back on the mats.